Hey everybody, welcome to Get Real with Jen. It is Monday at 12 p.m. Mountain Time, and today we are going to be talking about lessons from puppies or dogs, if you will, especially when it comes to learning how to eat well, take care of yourself, and why why we don't follow the same model, right? So I think you may have seen on Facebook, look at him, that we got a new puppy, and what's been so cool about having this puppy is just really watching the way he intuitively knows what he needs. If you have a dog, if you've been around a dog, you're gonna know that they need a lot of attention and love. They like to play. They need to go outside and pee and poop, and they eat, right? They let you know when they're hungry, and they eat what's in front of them, but they don't overeat. Or at least in a puppy state, this guy has not learned how to overeat yet. And so his little patterns throughout the day are he gets up, he has breakfast, he goes outside, we play, he gets fresh air, he drinks lots of water when he comes back inside. Oh, do you want to go down? Do you want to go down? I'm talking about you. There we go. He comes back inside, he drinks tons of water, and then he lies down and he rests, and then he gets a ton of affection, and he gives a ton of affection. And his cycle is just kind of on repeat all day long. And the reason I'm talking about this is, I'm in the midst of filming all of the interviews for our upcoming Weight Loss Code, the Weight Loss Code Masterclass series, which will be airing in November. And in spite of I've got doctors and authors and experts in so many different areas coming on to talk about really, really cool things, deep underlying physiological things that can impair weight loss, that can create weight loss resistance. And yet there's still just some of these basic, simple things that really lead to, our own self-sabotage. And so much of that is how we're choosing to structure our life, how we're choosing to perceive and manage stress, how we're choosing to make everything else under the sun more important than taking care of our own self. And I will hear this in terms of examples like, well, I don't have time to make breakfast. And it's sort of like, okay, I don't know. I don't know what kind of breakfast you're planning on creating for yourself in the morning, but we're not talking about brunch, We're talking about a simple, quick breakfast that really could be thrown together in about 5 minutes or so. So when I hear things like, I don't have time for this, or I'm too busy, or I'm overcommitted, or I've got too much going on, so this is the reason why I can't do that, it makes me think that, instead of adding more things in, which is what dieting is, right? If you go on to try to find a tactic that's going to allow you to do something and there's some sort of a shortcut approach to it, it's a tactic, it's a strategy. It's not a lifestyle change. And when you start to take a look at these different tactics that you're using and the fact that they're not working for you, at some point you have to be like, okay, what I'm doing isn't working. It's just not working. And what I've loved about my expert interviews is at the end of the day, I want you all to watch this, so I don't want to blow it, but there's really some simple strategies that all of us can engage in to get healthier. Because yes, weight loss is part of it, but ultimately having good health is what most of us are striving for. Right? We are fighting against the risk of becoming, sick or having a disease. And yet we're doing these things. And whether you're feeding your body with sugar, you're coping with wine, you are living life stressed out, there's a cost at some point to all of this. And maybe it hasn't caught up to you yet, but at some point we can only push so long for so hard on our bodies before something gives, right? The first sign of that is going to be, what I say is if you're experiencing or are carrying extra weight on your body, fantastic. All it is a sign or a symptom that, your body's asking you to change. Your body's giving you a visible symptom to let you know that what you're doing is not working for it, right? And then it's up to us if we choose to listen to that lesson. And so even things here are some of the 5, get a pen and paper. I'm going to tell you 5 really simple things that you can start to implement today to create change. And you know what? This isn't rocket science. And so don't negate what I'm saying just simply because you think it needs to be more complicated than this. It doesn't. It doesn't. It can be this simple. 1, go to bed earlier than you're going to bed. If you are like me, like most of my clients out there, or how I used to be, I can guarantee that you are living life sleep deprived. And a sleep deprived brain is not a healthy brain. Sleep deprivation shortens your lifespan, it shortens your quality of life. A sleep deprived brain does not have the same functionality as a rested brain. And so you're not as able to make, you're unable to make, how do I say it? It's really hard to make good decisions, right? Have you ever heard, like, you've ever been tired and you're trying to make a decision about something and you just can't get there. And so someone says, go sleep on it. After a good night's sleep, you'll be able to think about this better. It's true. A sleep deprived brain, junk food looks more appealing to a sleep deprived brain than a rested brain. And you're coupled with that, you can't make good decisions. So get some rest. Not only that, but hormone function is critical to good health. And if you are pushing your body so hard and then asking it, to run on empty, including no sleep, your hormones will not be working at their optimum function. Probably there will be some dysfunction. Sleep is critical, right? It's how your body heals and repairs. It's how it starts to take care of itself. So figure out, if you're already telling yourself, well, I can't do that, start to take a look at all of the excuses and reasons that you're giving yourself about why getting some more rest is something that you're unwilling to do. Second thing, drink more water, drink less coffee, drink less booze. Okay, drink more water. So whatever the amount of water is that you're drinking, add more in and start that first thing in the morning. Most of us, or a lot of people, the first thing that they put in their bodies in the morning is coffee. Right? Coffee, especially if you're sleep deprived because you didn't take advice in point number 1, you are now creating a hormonal soup for your body to start the day off with. And that's, it's not worth it. And so when you're able to sort of get more rest, drink more water, start to let your cells be hydrated, right? We are, 75 billion trillion cells. I don't even know the exact number, but it's a whole bunch of cells that are coming together to create our physical form. And cellular health begins with hydrating, right? We've got to know what we're putting into our body is good for us. When you do things that your body has to process because it's toxin or it's got, things that needs to get digested, or you've got stimulants coming in, it makes it harder. 3, eat real food. Real food. Just eat real food. Real food is when you go to the supermarket and you don't go down any of the aisles. Instead, you go to the produce section, right? That is where the real food lives. You're going to know it's real because it's going to be bright and colorful and it's going to taste fresh and it's not coming out of a bag, a box, or a jar. When you start to eat real food, you are giving your body the micronutrients that it needs to get healthy. And you're also going to be giving it fiber. Right? So fiber is the thing that most of us don't get enough of. Fiber influences your gut health. It influences your bowel health. It influences how things are moving through you. It's important. And yet, we make excuses like, I'm too busy. I don't have time. I don't like salad. I don't like eating salad in the winter. It's too cold. It takes too much time to prepare. And yet there's still a lot of simple tricks you can do to get all of that done so you can make vegetable consumption easy for you. Don't eat it raw. Saute it, cook it, roasted. There's so many tricks. Okay, so you've got get more sleep, drink more water, eat real food. 4, have more fun. Create more fun in your life. I can guarantee you need to laugh more. If you take a look at how often kids laugh a day, it's like hundreds of times a day they laugh. An adult, I think the stat was 8, like 8 little laughs. Instead, we'll talk about something. We'll say, oh, that was funny, or oh yeah, I found that amusing, but we're not being in the experience of joy. We're not being in the experience of happiness. And if you're not going to be able to, or if you can't or aren't experiencing happiness day to day, then that creates a deficit. It creates a joy deficit. And when there's a joy deficit in life, you will try to fill that deficit with food. You're going to try to make up with it, make it up in some way. And if it's not food, it might be wine, right? You're going to want to feel good. And if you can't get it from the things that you're doing in your life, or that the relationships that you've created, that you're participating in, then take a look at that and ask yourself, what's working here with my friendships and my relationships? And what do I want to take responsibility for creating better ones, right? Where can I be a better friend, a better wife, a better parent? Where can I be better to me, to your own self? And see what shifts. The last thing, this is there's kind of 2 in 1 here. So it's kind of like 6, but it's rolling to 5. It's shut off the screens, right? Decrease your screen time and increase your time outside. Increase your time in nature. And I don't care if you live in New York City or out in the country somewhere, right? There's just different ways that we need to take advantage of being outside. But fresh air is everything. And being disconnected from a phone, an iPad, a device, a tablet, a screen, a TV, Netflix, we have gotten so wrapped up in watching fake people live fake lives and somehow becoming immersed in it, like connected to it. Like somehow those people actually matter, or somehow your score on a game gives you something. And it doesn't. It's a distraction, and it's a way to numb. That's what it is. And so when you choose to shut these things off and get out into the real world, into a real environment where you get the chance to experience the wind on your face and the sun on your back, and you can hear birds chirping, and you can breathe, and you can go for a walk. And even if for in busy cities, if you're listening to horns honking but you're seeing other people, I mean, there is still more power in that connection. So often. All right, so those are my 5. If you need to go back and recap them, you can just quickly watch this again, or you can go to we'll have this recaptured for you coming up here in the blog post. But one of the other things I want to share is that so often right now we are looking to make weight loss really, really complicated. We are listening to diagnoses. We're trying to make it difficult, complex, and I'm not saying that those cases don't exist. But if you were to really, truly start implementing those basic things, I can guarantee you will feel a 25 to 40 or 50% improvement in your health, in your energy, and then weight loss happens. Sometimes weight loss cannot be the first metric that you're looking for. It cannot be the first thing that comes to you, because behavior change takes time, and what you're doing today, the choices you're making today, influence your lifestyle tomorrow and next week and next month. So if you want to change your life, you need to change your today. Like, that's ultimately the thing that we need to decide here. It's like changing your life doesn't happen in one grandiose paint stroke across canvas. It happens with the little things that you commit to, choose, how you choose to think, how you choose to be, the way that you're going to choose to show up day in, day out. It's kind of that, what's the saying? There is no such thing as overnight success. There's usually years of hard work behind it. Well, that's true in business, but it's also true in weight loss, right? There's no such thing as somebody who went from 200 pounds to 150, in 2 weeks. And if they did, it would be with some insane, horrible, awful, unhealthy thing. I haven't heard of a case like that. And I try to stay, caught up on that sort of thing. And so as you're going through this, as you're trying to discover what's going to be your next magic bullet, why don't you throw out every other tactic and strategy that might be, half used in your cupboard. Get rid of the half used cleanses, get rid of the half drank protein shakes, the supplements that you took for a bit and gross. If you have any of that prepackaged food, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Because if it didn't work then, it's not going to work now, and it will not work in your future. What's funny is we already know the things that don't work for us. We know them. And for some reason that, that definition of insanity is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Well, I would say that many of us who are dieted, we're insane, because we keep expecting that some new diet is going to be this magical thing that works. And what we're failing to recognize is that you've got to get really real with yourself first. You've got to get really real with the reasons and the justifications that you're making in your life about why you can't put basic self-care habits and routines and rituals into your life. The most important relationship you will ever cultivate ever is with yourself. And I just did this interview with a good friend of mine, a colleague of mine, and what we said is that women are living in an epidemic of not feeling like they're enough. It is literally a global epidemic of shame, low self-worth, isolation, depression, anxiety, stress. It's a big deal. And yet we're not combating it well, And so this is the time where you're able to, come on to shows like this or to other Facebook shows and get the information. And there's a reason that I can say 8 years later that what I'm telling you works. It's because I've practiced it day in, day out for however many days that is, 8 years times 365. And my weight has never been an issue for me the minute I started putting basic self-care back in my life. Yes, I had to do some additional work. I had to understand portion. I had to understand, what my body really needed to be nourished. I had to understand what junk food and really did, and what eating too much sugar and drinking too much wine, how it really impacted me. And I'm still grateful for those lessons because I understand it, right? I understand it from personal experience. I understand at a deeper level what's happening scientifically with weight loss and fat metabolism. More importantly, I'm super grateful that I've had the ability to go through the emotional hardships in life. Now think about that statement. I'm grateful for the emotional hardships I've had the privilege of going through in my life. Can you say the same for you yet? The reason I'm able to say that now, and trust me, there were moments where I did not feel that way, is because I've made peace with my past. I'm no longer hanging on. I'm no longer holding on to hurt, resentment, bitterness, blame, shame, anger, regret. When you start to do your inner work, you learn how to let that go. You can feel it and release it, as opposed to feeling it, being afraid of it, don't want to face it, and then you shove it down. Right? How we shove, when we shove feelings down, we don't just shove the negative ones. We numb the pain, we numb the joy, right? So no wonder there's like this, sort of lack of joy effect in life right now. If 2/3 of the population are overweight and 1/3 of that population is obese, then I can guarantee you there's not enough fun being had in our world right now. And so as you choose to get real with yourself, as you choose to get real about what it's going to take for you to commit to love yourself the way you are, like the way you are right now. And by the way, loving yourself the way you are does not mean that you become complacent. It doesn't mean that you give up on your goals, or that you forget where you want to go or how you want to feel. It doesn't mean that at all. But I can guarantee your approach of hating yourself or trying to hate yourself healthy or thin, that hasn't worked either. Right? So again, thinking about how you stay stuck on the hamster wheel, right? How you stay stuck on that like insane track where you just can't get off. At some point, you just have to get off and go, wait, here's somebody who's done what I wanted to do. She's maintained it. She's, hopefully you can look at me and, see that like I feel healthy. I come to these shows with energy. I'm excited about my life. I'm excited about what I'm creating. It's not without hardship and struggle. I can guarantee that. But I'm going to choose to embrace those challenges because I expect them. I don't let them derail me. And if I can do that, so can you. But ask yourself, are you doing those 5 basic things? Write it down and say, okay, am I doing this? Yes or no? Why not? Right? What's getting in the way? And if it's because you have a problem committing to yourself, then start with making one promise. One promise about what you're going to do today. Maybe that's go to bed early. Maybe it's that you're not going to watch TV. Instead, you're going to journal. Maybe you're going to make a cup of tea tonight and not drink a glass of wine. All it is starting with one promise and keeping it. And then tomorrow, make a new promise and keep the same one you made today. Change doesn't happen overnight. It happens bit by bit by bit by bit with every little decision that you make, because it's the change over time and your consistency and persistence that leads to the big, dramatic change down the road. So I hope this helps. I hope it's going to be a motivated Monday for you, and that you're able to go and take at least one of those 5 things that I talked about at the beginning of this Facebook Live and put it into play today. I'll see you again next week, where I'm going to be talking all about Halloween treats. And are you tricking yourself or treating yourself when it comes to gobbling up those little chocolate bars in pint-sized candy packets? So tune in for that if Halloween is a time of year that gets you every time. Bye for now.